Every person wants to be happy in their life and dreams about a good life partner for the future. However, the incident that occurred in Bangalore made people think deeply about marriage and love. Friends, stay with us until the end of the video to know the truth of this incident. Before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like the video. It's important to stay aware of such heart-wrenching incidents happening in society so you can also be cautious. Now, let us tell you about the incident. Baby Girish, who lived in Bangalore, was engaged to a girl named Shobha Shankar Narayan. Before their marriage, they had their engagement. Girish, a 27-year-old software engineer, was very happy after the engagement. About 3 days after the engagement, Girish and his fiancée, Shobha Shankar Narayan, went to a nice restaurant for dinner. After dinner, they were heading back home, but before that, they stopped at a nearby air viewpoint. It was evening, and they wanted to enjoy the view of flight landings at the spot. While they were enjoying the view, suddenly someone attacked Girish from behind with a heavy object. The attack was so sudden and deadly that Girish couldn't comprehend what had happened, and he fell to the ground. Shobha was also shocked and started screaming for help, looking for people nearby. With the help of some people, Girish was immediately taken to the hospital. Despite the doctor's best efforts, Girish's condition worsened, and the next day, he passed away. When the case was investigated and the truth about Girish's death came out, it left everyone who heard it in shock. But the question remained who committed this murder and why. In fact, Shobha Shankar Narayan, the daughter of a well-known lawyer in Bangalore, was 27 years old and belonged to an educated family. Shobha's father was a renowned lawyer, and because of his influence, Shobha also aspired to become a lawyer and was studying law. As time passed, in November of that year, Shobha's father arranged her marriage to a boy named Baby Girish, who was a software engineer and came from a good family. At the same time, Shobha was working a good job at a large company, and Girish's family were neighbors. Both families had known each other since childhood, and their relations were very good. Since Shobha's father knew Girish and his family well, he wanted his daughter to marry into a good family. He thought Girish was a good boy, and that this match would be perfect for his daughter. On November 30th, Girish and Shobha got engaged, and their wedding was scheduled for April. Now that Girish and Shobha were engaged, 3 days later, Shobha suggested to Girish that they go out for dinner. Girish was very happy because his fiancée had invited him to dinner. He thought this would be a good opportunity to spend some time together and talk, allowing them to get to know each other better. So, Girish agreed to take Shobha out for dinner, and they promised to meet in the evening. Initially, Girish took Shobha to his office, where he introduced her to some friends and colleagues. They were all very happy and discussed the wedding while hanging out together. After a while, they went to a restaurant near the airport for dinner. After dining, around 9:30 p.m., they were getting ready to leave for home when they noticed a flight landing viewpoint near the restaurant. This spot is typically where people stop to enjoy the sight of planes landing or taking off. As they were heading home after dinner, Shobha suddenly said she wanted to stop for a bit at the air viewpoint because she wanted to see the planes flying up close. Girish stopped the car at her request and parked it on the side. They found a vacant spot to stand in, but since it was night, there wasn't much light. Suddenly, someone attacked Girish on his right side with a heavy object, causing a severe injury. Girish was knocked down and fell unconscious. Shobha was confused, and by the time she turned around to see what had happened, the assailant on the motorcycle had already fled. Everything happened so quickly that no one could comprehend what was going on. Shobha started crying and screaming as she saw Girish lying on the ground, in need of help. She then called for assistance from a driver passing by. The driver was a good person and immediately got out of his car to help. Shobha and the driver worked together to lift Girish into the car and rushed him to a nearby hospital. Shobha informed her family about the incident. Upon receiving the news, both families quickly arrived at the hospital, but after spending the whole night there, the next morning the doctor declared Girish dead. He had passed away, and this incident was a massive shock to the entire family and relatives because just 3 days earlier, they had been celebrating Girish's engagement. The event had shaken everyone as the entire family was devastated, crying uncontrollably. Shobha was completely heartbroken, as they were supposed to get married soon. However, they were trying to hold themselves together. On the other hand, after the incident, Girish's father went to the police station to file a report. He provided the police with all the details about how his future daughter-in-law and son were standing at that location when they were suddenly attacked, resulting in Girish's death. The police began their investigation, and since Shabha was the only eyewitness to the murder, they first took her statement. Shabha told the police that she had invited Girish for dinner, and how they had gone to his office that day before dining at a fancy restaurant. She explained how they had stopped at a flight landing spot on their way back, and how someone had attacked Girish from behind. However, she couldn't see who the assailant was because she was in shock and continuously crying. Anyone in her position, having just gotten engaged 3 days prior and losing their fiancé, would be deeply traumatized, and Shabha was going through such trauma. The police treated Shabha kindly, and they also questioned other family members. However, they found no clues. The police began their investigation into the case from different angles, exploring whether there was any old enmity against the family. But they could not find any leads related to the case. A lot of time passed in this investigation, but the police were not successful, and pressure was mounting on them. After much searching, with no evidence found, the police decided to investigate the case from a new angle. They looked into whether there was a video recording of Girish and Shabha's engagement, as significant events are often recorded. The police started reviewing the video recording of Girish and Shabha's engagement. Perhaps some evidence might emerge, or something might come to light that could help solve this case. Because such events attract many people, and then many high-ranking officers review the engagement videos of Shabha and Girish. The faces of every guest are closely observed, meaning that every little detail is taken into account. However, after scrutinizing the video, the police found nothing that could lead them to a clue about Girish's murder. But after noticing every guest and relative, the attention of some officers suddenly fell on Shabha's face. The police's goal was only to find the killer through that video, or to find some clue related to the killer. At that moment, the police had no suspicion about Shabha, but when they looked at Girish and Shabha, their expressions seemed strange. The girl who was getting engaged showed no happiness on her face and was constantly trying to distance herself from Girish. Stress and anger were also visible on her face. Generally, when a boy or girl is engaged, there is a unique happiness and glow on their faces. However, in Girish and Shabha's engagement, nothing of that sort was visible, which puzzled the police. They began to suspect that perhaps Shabha was not happy with this engagement. This was just a guess by the police, but the reality was still unknown to them. The police thought there might be another reason for Shabha's demeanor, but based on their suspicions, they seized Shabha's phone. Then the police began examining Shabha's call details, which revealed that on the day of the incident, Shabha had been talking for several hours to a single number. When the police traced that number, they found it belonged to a boy named Arun Verma, who was studying law at Shabha's college and was 2 years her junior. 19-year-old Arun Verma was continuously on the phone with Shabha. When the police found out Arun Verma's location on the day of the incident, they discovered he was near the crime scene, as Shabha's location was also there, with her being with Girish. This fact raised suspicions for the police. Subsequently, the police called Arun Verma in for questioning. When questioned, Arun told the police that he was not in the city that day. The police interrogated him from various angles, but Arun continuously denied everything. Just having Arun's mobile location there was not enough, so the police needed more evidence to prove the case in court. Now the police decided to act wisely. They let Arun go but placed Shabha's and Arun's numbers under surveillance. As soon as Arun was out of police custody, he made a call to Shabha, informing her of everything. Shabha asked him if he had told the police anything, to which Arun replied that he hadn't said anything but had instead misled them. He told the police he was not in the city that day, and they probably believed him because they let him go, thinking he was no longer a suspect. However, they didn't know the police were listening to all their conversations. Now, the police had the call recordings, and the entire picture of the murder case was becoming clear. After this, the police went directly to Shabha's house. Although arresting Shabha was challenging since her father was a prominent lawyer, she was called in for questioning, and all the evidence was presented to her. The conversation between Arun Verma and Shabha was played for her, and she was informed that Arun Verma's location was also near the crime scene that day. Afterward, Arun Verma was arrested as well. The 19-year-old Arun Verma broke down once all the evidence came to light, and then he shared the story of the incident, leaving everyone shocked. Arun revealed that he and Shabha were in love and had been in a relationship for about 2 to 3 years. They both studied at the same college, and Arun was Shabha's junior. However, Shabha wanted to marry Arun, and he wanted the same. But one day, Shabha's father discovered their love, and as soon as he learned of it, he arranged Shabha's marriage to Girish, who lived in their neighborhood. He thought Girish was a good boy from a good family, believing this would be a better match for Shabha. A few days later, they got Shabha engaged to Girish. However, Shabha did not like Girish at all, as he had a simple nature and believed in living a simple lifestyle. In contrast, Shabha preferred a more high-profile lifestyle. The most significant issue was that Girish was not her choice. She had chosen Arun Verma for herself. But under her father's pressure, she got engaged to Girish, though she was not happy about this engagement. It was revealed that on the day of the engagement, Shabha had told her beautician who was to do her makeup that she would get engaged to this boy but would never marry him. Shabha stated that she would either run away on the wedding day or kill Girish. After her engagement, Shabha was very troubled and was constantly discussing this with Arun Verma over the phone. On December 3rd, Shabha, Arun, a cousin of theirs, and a friend had spoken on the phone about 76 times. Shabha had planned to eliminate Girish and had included Arun and his friends in her scheme. They agreed that night, Shabha would take Girish out for dinner and afterward bring him to the air viewpoint, where the murder could easily be executed due to the secluded location. Following this plan, Shabha invited Girish to dinner and brought him to the flight landing spot as planned. Afterward, she deliberately positioned him in a corner, and shortly after, Arun Verma and his friends arrived there and immediately attacked Girish from behind. They then fled the scene. However, 50 days after the murder, all 4 of them were arrested. The trial for this case took place in a fast-track court, which sentenced Shabha and all the co-conspirators to life imprisonment after nearly 6 years. This case then went to the High Court, which upheld the sentences. The matter continued in the Supreme Court, and by the time they had spent nearly 10 years in jail, they were granted bail by the Supreme Court. Thus, if this girl did not like her future husband, she could have refused the marriage or told Girish that she wanted to marry someone else. However, the path she chose to obtain her happiness was very wrong, and in this way, she took away their young son from Girish's elderly parents forever. Friends, the purpose of sharing this incident is not to hurt anyone's feelings or cause distress, but to raise awareness and alert you. Friends, what do you think about this entire incident? Please let us know in the comment box. And if you liked our effort, do like and share this video. If you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do so. Thank you.